Hello, girls, guys, or otherwise. This is Rich with your Tarot Talk Tuesday. This being the first Tuesday of the month, we are doing a deck review and reveal. This month, I am reviewing and revealing the box that was actually behind me for quite some time, and everybody said that they couldn't see it, or at least certain individuals said that they couldn't see it. And yeah, I got this like a little bit ago, but like a couple months ago, but I haven't been allowed to use it because of my self-imposed rule of not using a tarot deck until um until I do a deck review and reveal. So let's just get on into it. This month's is, if you looked at the title, you know, the Supernatural Join the Hunt tarot deck and guidebook here. So I do love the Supernatural, the storyline. I enjoy the show. Um, so yeah, and quite attractive actors on there as well. So yeah, I mean overall I do enjoy it. I, after getting this deck, need to go back and rewatch the entire series. This is put out by Insight Editions. So let's get into it. Let's bring you on down to the nether regions. We're gonna just, go through this deck as per normal. And yeah, hopefully I don't have to edit too much because I have so many videos today that I want to make. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. Okay, as with any YouTuber out there, just as I start recording, there is somebody going to be outside doing some lawn work. So if it is coming through after the editing process and whatnot, I think my microphone's pretty darn good that you shouldn't be able to hear it. But if you hear that, I do apologize for that. So anyway, this is the Supernatural Join the Hunt tarot deck. And it comes, this is again by Insight Editions. This is a 2021 release, so fairly new. And let's get into it. It has a two-part box, and let's just look at let me turn the light on here, see if that makes any difference. It lightens that up a little bit. You can see the Enochian script that they utilize in the series, just even on the back of the cover, the backside of the front cover. So, what we get inside, I've taken this out one time, so still fairly new. The only reason I take them out is to make sure that all the cards are there, that I didn't get an off deck. So let's look into the guidebook first, as we normally do. This is written by Minerva Siegel and art by Matthew Skiff. And yeah, oh, I will say this. The book is starting to already come apart. The glue on it is starting to come apart. I'm not too concerned about that, but if you like your things being in pristine condition, do take note of that. The book is already starting to unglue itself. So anyway, we have an introduction. Let's see. From its beginning, Supernatural has been a show rich in mythology, folklore, and symbolism. Yeah, okay. We're going to go through that. It tells you about understanding the tarot deck. And then it goes into the majors. And it's called The Fools instead of just The Fool. And what it gives here is it gives a picture, and it looks like, yes, it's done in the same colors. There's not a lot of colors to this deck, which is kind of depressing that they didn't add a lot of color to the deck, but it also kind of lends to it. We have a brief description, and upright and reversed meanings. And it also goes through and it tells you, such as, let's go with the Fools. The Fool represents the very beginning of an important new journey or major life change. Sam and Dean Winchester's transition into solo hunters after their father's disappearance perfectly embodies the spirit of the Fool tarot card. Let's go let's go to the Hermit. Just my favorite card, and I happen to turn to it. Awesome. And this is, of course, Bobby Singer. The Hermit, like Bobby Singer, is a solitary guide who has a talent for illuminating the truth and bringing out the best in people. So it gives a nice little synopsis of the character and why the character represents that card. Let's go into the minors. We have in the minors, let's see. I want to make sure that we have, or that I'm accurately portraying this, or accurately representing this. The suit of bones is the element of fire. The suit of pentagrams corresponds with earth. Okay, so that one's the same. The suit of blades is the swords. So bones is the big changer here. That is your wand set. The suit of goblets is, of course, the chalices or the cups. So let's go ahead and go into here. It doesn't really give a big synopsis of the individuals or the things that are on there. Let's see. Let's go with the Four of Pentagrams, which I also have here. Okay, the Four of Pentagrams represents, this is the upright, represents physical and financial security. This tarot card advises you to conserve your resources and pay careful attention to your incoming and outgoing cash flow. Manage your income wisely and beware of impulsive spending. And it does give a little bit of stuff here in the reverse, so it probably gives it also on the upright. I didn't read through this entire book. You get it as I am also being revealed to here. Bella Talbot is a skilled con artist using lies to exploit and manipulate others to get what she wants from them. This sort of energy perfectly sums up the Four of Pentagrams reversed, which represents materialism, greed, and selfishness, particularly in regards to finances and material possessions. This tarot card serves as both a warning to make sure you're being treated fairly and in situations regarding work and money, and a reminder to treat others fairly in return. So it does give a little bit of why they chose the figures that are on the cards. And I'm going to say this before we get it too much into it. This deck has gone the Pips route on a lot of the cards, which I do not like. I am not a Pips reader. I like the pictures. I like the fullness of the pictures. Then we have a little section on caring for your deck, methods for reading tarot. We got a couple different spreads here. We got the apple pie tarot spread. If you watched the show, you would be familiar with Dean's fascination with pie and his love for pie. We have Lucifer's Cage tarot spread. It's a 3-card spread. The pie spread is the apple pie tarot spread is a 4-card spread. And let's see. Team Free Will Tarot Spread looks like a 5-card spread. Very nice. And then it has a little bit about the author and about the illustrator. So yeah, like I said, the book's starting to come apart already. I don't appreciate that, but you know, we're going to get past that because it's not all about the book. It's actually about the cards. So let's go ahead and get into it. I do like the detail on the back here. I do appreciate whenever the deck creators put in a little ribbon for us to be able to get the cards out. Very much appreciated there. Let's set that aside. Let's do one thing by looking at the backs of the cards. And I will say this. The finish on these is silky smooth. It's absolutely phenomenal. Excuse me, I had a little issue there. These are not able to be read in reverse, by the backings. If you're one that looks at the backs, you're going to get a hint of reversals. So yeah, just to let you know about that. If you look at the backs whenever you're reading, train yourself not to look at the backs, because this will get you give you a hint whether or not it's upright or reversed. So let's look at the sizes here. Same size, it does appear to be, as the Rider-Waite Smith. One thing that gets me is that the cut of the cards are not exactly on center. It's just a little something that would irritate some people with OCD. Now, these ones are like maybe a slight bit bigger than the Rider-Waite Smith tarot size, but that might also have to do with the cutting of the deck. Like I said, this is not centered, it's not skewed properly on it. I know some people might get a little might have a little issue with that, but yeah, just to let you know. I apparently am a bad deck reviewer and revealer, because my Rider-Waite Smith is not in order. So I'm going to go ahead and go through and make sure that these are all in order, and we'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. One other thing I wanted to point out before we get too far into it is this deck is a little bit on the thick side. You can see right there that it is thicker than your standard Rider-Waite Smith deck by US Games. So I do want to note that as well. If you have tiny hands, if you have little tiny whopper hands, might be a little bit on the difficult side to shuffle. And we're just going to go ahead and get right into this. Love the High Priestess. Like I said, there isn't a lot of a lot of color. We have like blues and blacks and grays and reds, but yeah, we don't have a lot of color that is really in this, and I think they could have done a lot more color. Of course, we have the Impala as the chariot. Yeah. And if you are a follower, let me see if I can make this just a little bit bigger without compromising the... Yeah, I'm trying to do this with the webcam. Whoops. And it's not really showing up. It's not giving it a lot of justice to the individual cards themselves. So, yeah, it's a lot more detailed than what it's actually showing up on the camera. But yeah, I do like the individuals that they chose for, at very least, for the major arcana. I think that is absolutely fantastic, the ones that they picked. So I have no complaints there. Master of Illusion, the moon. Then we have the sun here, and that's what's her name? Bradbury. Oh geez, I can't remember her name. Wonderful actor though. Now we're getting into the blades, which are easy enough to associate with swords. Now here's where we get into the fact that not all of the swords, or not all of the minors, are actually figural. You do have some Pips cards where it's just, this is just 6 different types of swords that are utilized in the storytelling of Supernatural. So, yeah, I'm not very appreciative of that. My thing is, if it's a time issue, I would rather wait and get a deck that is fully done and fully developed, rather than, sorry, I'm getting a little sticky there. Okay. I would rather get a deck that is fully done, fully developed, and fully thought through than having a couple of pips cards mixed in. It breaks up the cohesion for me, so I'm not really appreciative of that. And then we're on to the bones, which are your wands. Again, look, two of wands. You could have certainly done something where they're looking at a map or something like that. It still gives you that that feel of the card's meaning and whatnot. Yeah, I just wish they would have not gone the pips route on certain ones. I'm not a pips type reader, so I might not use this deck as much. Yeah, and that's quite unfortunate, because I do like Supernatural. I do like the storylines. I do like the characters, and I think that there's so much more that could have been done. This is the only pips card that we really have in the Rider-Waite-Smith. So everything else can have a feel to it, or a picture with it. And I think after, what was it, 9 seasons or 10 seasons? I can't even remember how many seasons. Hey Siri, how many seasons did Supernatural run?
Here are TV shows matching Supernatural.
Oh shit.
BuzzFeed Unsolved, Supernatural.
Yeah. Hold on. I can't remember how many seasons that Supernatural ran, and Siri's not telling me. Supernatural ran for 15 seasons, right? Yeah, 15 seasons. You cannot tell me that after 15 seasons you don't have a picture, a scene that you can encapsulate on a card that will tell the story of that card. You know, I know there has to be a scene where the three of them are sitting around drinking, the two main characters, Sam and Dean, along with Bobby Singer, where they are, you know, cheering with their beers or something like that. You know, it would be a perfectly good situation to have on that card, rather than having 3 chalices. So yeah, I'm just disappointed in that. And I mean, you can utilize the chalices in so many different ways. You can put it in there as just vessels or something like that. It doesn't have to be a chalice. Like, look here, in this one, this is the 8 of 8 of cups, and there's not even a cup on it. That is disappointing to me. And I am giving it a lot of crap, because I know a lot of people had looked forward to this deck for quite some time. And there's actually a Harry Potter deck out there that is an unofficial deck, but the artist had created the deck, and it's on DeviantArt, and I need to buy it. The artwork is fantastic. They did not go the pips route. I think, if done on proper cardstock, would be a fantastic one for readings. So I kind of want to go and get that one, but it's a little on the pricey side. I think they're in Australia, and it was just a little hard to get that, at least at the time that I was talking with the individual, the artist. So again, we're going the pips route. I mean, there's certainly situations where you can have somebody out in the cold, you know, with 5 pentacles or pentagrams behind them. You know, you could certainly have that. It doesn't need to be necessarily a big elaborate thing. There's plenty of scenes in the 15 seasons that we could have used to tell this story. So that's just my big hang up on this entire deck, is that they ended up going the pips route. Other than that, the coloring doesn't bother me. The coloring is actually it kind of lends itself to the darkness of the series, and then we have Crowley as the king of pentagrams. But it kind of lends itself to the overall storyline and how dark the series was. I just I don't know if I would really be able to use this deck because it went the Pips route. Let me go ahead and bring the focus out a little bit. There we go. Okay, so let's see how it shuffles, because you know, if it shuffles for crap, you know, that's a no-brainer, don't get it type thing. So let's go ahead and, like I said, this is a little thicker than most. Yeah, that was probably more me than the cards there. It doesn't shuffle too bad. Again, thicker deck, has a velvety smoothness to it. I do appreciate that. I mean, they went for good quality cardstock. That I'll give them. And maybe I am being a little overly critical with the backing not being completely centered on all the cards. Maybe I'm being a little overly critical about that, or the fact that they're not reversible from the back. I don't care about that. But if you're going to sit there and create a deck of a beloved TV series, you know, use more of the scenes in the actual deck and don't go the Pips route. But I mean, overall, it's a nice looking deck. I can definitely pull one of these cards and, you know what, utilize, try to get the angle right here, utilize this photo in a in a what you call it, in a Book of Shadows page, or you know, something like that. Like, I wouldn't use that, but you know, I could definitely put one of these on there, like in a Book of Shadows page, and relate that imagery. It's still beautiful imagery. I do appreciate the imagery that we do have on it, but I don't know if I would really use it as much as a reading deck because of that. Because of the Pips route. I am a little disappointed that the book is starting to fall apart. That does get me a little bit. It's not a huge deal. If that were the only thing with this deck that happened, I wouldn't care, because the book's going to get read. It's going to get tossed around, abused, and whatnot. That's no big deal. But for this deck, I don't know if I would buy it again. You know, the ones that do have pictures are fantastic. I do love them, and I love the series. I just think that was a disappointing thing to happen whenever you have so much content that you could have gotten from. So, a little disappointed in this one. But I mean, the concept is great, and I kind of do love the artwork in it. And I'm probably going to end up using the artwork in a Book of Shadows page or a Grimoire page somewhere, because that is pop culture that I can easily relate to, and that, you know, even if you don't have the context, can work depending on what your spell page is or what your page is about in general. Let's take a for instance. Okay, let's just pull one out here. Pull a random one. Okay, so we have, it's not Jody Mills. Who's this? It's not Jody Mills. Son of a gun, I don't know all the characters as well as I should. This is Donna Hanscom. So if I had this in a Book of Shadows page, if I were going to utilize this imagery in my Book of Shadows page, this would be something that I would have as part of the Justice page. You have law enforcement, you have the scales of justice. If I relate my memory to this character, then we also have the, you know, she's kind of naive, but she always leans towards justice and the correctness of law. So I can definitely do that. I can associate certain things with the imagery here. Take, for instance, the Fools. I can definitely use this in a Book of Shadows page. You know, going on a journey, starting a journey. You know, I can utilize these images for a Book of Shadows page. So, I mean, that might be worth the cost of the deck. I can't remember what I paid for it. I was probably like $25. See if it has it on here. Um, yeah, $25. And let's see, for those Canadians out there, the Canucks, we have $34 Canadian. So, yeah, overall, a little bit of a disappointment, but also kind of not. I don't. I have mixed feelings about this. Maybe I'll get to a point where, you know, the Pips part doesn't affect me as much. So, but I do read with the imagery and whatnot. I read into it. I don't just sit there and say, this is the meaning, this is what this means. I'm more of a, this is what's happening in this, you know, and continue from there. So, if you have this deck, if you like this deck, if this is your main squeeze for reading, do let me know in the comments down below. Let me know if you would still buy this deck given this review. Again, I have mixed feelings about whether or not I would still buy this, but I got it, so I'm going to use it. Yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think of this deck. And until next time, may you have love, hugs, and ladybugs. Bye-bye.